Okay, you should be on the last page of your foldable, looking at the problem that says 4 times the quantity 3x minus 1 equals 8. We are going to talk about problems with more than one step. We're going to start with the distributive property. So to do this problem, you're going to distribute. We need to get rid of the parentheses. So you're going to take the number in front, and you're going to multiply it times these numbers right here. So 4 times 3x is 12x. And be really careful. This is 4 times, this number is negative 1. And 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. So you're going to write negative 4 equals 8. And now you have a problem that looks like the problems that you've done for the last 2 days. And you would go to step 4 to finish it. We'll undo the minus and divide by 12. All right, I want you to write another problem on your foldable. And that problem looks like this. 6 minus 7, parentheses, x minus 3 equals negative 1. So this one still has the distributive property. You're going to have to distribute carefully. I chose this problem because there's a couple things I don't want you to do. Do not add 6 and negative 7. When there are parentheses, always distribute first. Always distribute first. Don't do any add or subtract, because then you're going to get a wrong answer. And I know half of you are going to tell me, well, 6 minus 7 is negative 1, and you're going to distribute that, but that is not what we're going to do. So when you distribute, what I want you to do is box. You need to box that number. That's what you're distributing. So the 6 is just going to come down, because we're not doing anything with that yet. And you'll take negative 7 times x. That's negative 7x. And then we'll take negative 7 times negative 3. And use your calculator if you need to, but a negative times a negative is a positive. That's positive 21. And so you're going to write positive, see the plus sign? 21 equals negative 1. All right, we've distributed. And so now we're going to go to step 2. So we're going to turn our foldable. And we're going to look at how to do this one. If you look, it says combine like terms on each side of the equation if needed. Remember, we have 2 sides. So you're going to draw a line here and you're going to look. I want you to cover it up and look. On the left-hand side, do we have any things that are alike? Well, you should see that 9x and negative 2x are alike. Keep this covered. If I put 9 and negative 2 together, what do I get? I should get 7x. Okay, is there anything else I can combine on the left-hand side of the equation? No. All right, let's look at the right-hand side. So cover up the left. Over here it says 15 minus 8. Those are also like terms, and we're just going to use our calculator to do this part. So 15 minus 8 is 7. And now what looked like this really big, scary equation is easy. We're going to take this and go to step 4. On the other side, over here, we did a problem. This one's going to be continued from step 1. And we had the problem, if you look, it says 6 minus 7x plus 21 equals negative 1. So we're going to put it here. 6 minus 7x plus 21 equals -1. Draw your line and look. On the left-hand side, do I have any terms that are alike? Well, if you're looking carefully, you should see 6 and 21 are alike. So the -7x isn't going to change. I'm going to bring it down here. And 6 plus 21 is 27. And now, once again, we have just a two-step equation like the ones we did yesterday. And so we would at this point go two-step 4. Okay. All right, I want you to put your foldable aside and get your notes. Okay, I'll give you a moment. All right, so equations that are more complicated have to be simplified, and that's what we're doing. We're doing step 1 and step 2, and we're going to finish the whole thing. So the first problem says y minus 7 plus 4y equals 13. The first thing I want you to do is draw the line. You have a right side and a left side. We're going to cover up the left side and look at the right. Do I have anything that can be combined? Anything that's like terms? As I look at it, I do. I have a y and a 4y. And y'all know that if there's nothing in front of the y, what number needs to go there? A 1. And so when I put those together, 1y plus 4y, I get 5y minus 7 equals 13. And this one you should know how to do now. So we're going to add 7. Remember, the 7 has to go because it's not as attached. So 5y equals 20. When I don't see an operation there, that operation is multiplication. In order to undo multiplication, I will divide both sides by 5. And y equals 4. Obviously, I'm going to want you to check. So I'm going to pause while you can check your answer. Okay. Number 2. Number 2 says 3 times the quantity a minus 5 plus 19 is -2. Draw your line. And we have parentheses. So the first thing we need to do is get rid of those parentheses. We're going to multiply by 3. So 3 times a is 3a. And 3 times -5 is -15 plus 19 equals -2. Now that we've gotten rid of the parentheses, our foldable says, after we distribute, that's this one, do the distributive property, then we do the combined like terms. Okay, so we just distributed. Now let's do the combined like terms. So on the left-hand side, my like terms are -15, and when you circle these, please circle the sign with it so that you know it's a -15 and a positive 19. Put them in your calculator, -15 plus 19. Right, you should have gotten positive 4, so 3a plus 4 equals -2. Minus 4 from both sides. We have our two-step equation now. This is the stuff that we worked on yesterday. -2 plus -4 is -6. Once again, I don't see the operation. It's 3 times a, so to undo that, we're going to divide by 3. And a equals -2. And I want you to go ahead and check that in your calculator, please. All right, number 3. Number 3, again, gets more complicated, but you can do this. It isn't too bad. Remember, we have one like this in our foldable. the thing I do not want you to do is combine that -9 and that -3. You have to get rid of the parentheses first. All right? No adding or subtracting until the parentheses are gone. So if I'm looking at that, I'm going to distribute -3. I want you to box the number and the sign so that you know that you're distributing the whole thing. The -9 comes down. -3 times 2 is -6r. -3 times -1 is +3. And that equals -18. So we just did step 1. And step 2 in your foldable says combine your like terms. So we draw our line, cover up the left, look at the right. It looks to me like I have some like terms. I have a -9 and a +3. And -9 plus 3 is -6. This is -6r. That sign is attached to that 6. It comes with it. Minus 6r equals -18. Here's my r. The two things that need to go are the -6 and the -6. The one that goes first is the one here because it's not attached. So we're going to get rid of this -6 by adding 6 to both sides. That cancels, and -6r equals -12. Multiplication, when I undo that, it's division. Don't forget your sign because that's a place where people make a lot of mistakes. And r equals -12 divided by -6 +2. And I want you to check your work. All right, number 4. Number 4 looks interesting. I have 2 parentheses. What's the number in front of this parentheses? If there isn't one, always, 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 the number is 1. Well, is there a number over here? No, there isn't. But, I mean, there is. So mathematicians are either really lazy or really efficient, however you want to think about it. But they don't write their number 1s. This really says minus 1 times that, okay? So that's what we're going to do. If we distribute this one, 1 times x is x, and 1 times -3 is -3. I really just didn't even need the parentheses there. I think they do that to confuse us. But over here, I have to distribute this -1. And that is going to change things. So -1 times x is -1x. And -1 times 5 is +6. I can't forget that I have a 2x here. And then it's equal to 0. That's a lot of stuff. So we need to look at that and combine our like terms. So go ahead and draw your line. And don't worry about the fact that it's a 0 over here. It feels awkward, but it'll be okay. You'll see. All right, so when I look on the left-hand side, I have all kinds of like terms. So I need to be really careful. I have a 1x, I have a -1x, and I have a +2x. 1x and -1x, they just kind of cancel out, right? So all that's left then is 2x. Also, -3 and +6 are like terms. It happens that way sometimes. You'll have like terms on both sides. So -3 and +6 make +3. And that equals 0. And now, still, don't worry about this 0. Just follow what you're supposed to do. We draw our line. Here's the x. What 2 numbers have to go for x to be alone? Well, we have a 2 and a 3. Which number needs to go first? Well, the one that's not attached, and that's the 3. So we have +3, so we're going to make that -3. And 2x equals -3. And then we're going to divide by 2.